When I say gift, I'm talking about purpose, I'm talking about that mission, I'm talking about having that one thing that we dedicate our lives to. And it's not as simple as you might think. So let's go back to how I actually even started looking for my gift. So when I was 18, I was asked to see what university I wanted to go to. And I was like, bro, just take me anywhere that does psychology. Like, I'll be fine. And I did do that. But it became clear to me that I didn't actually have a proper vision of, especially in psychology, there isn't a one direction. So I looked and I looked. I was like, I don't know what I really want to do. And I don't know what I want to do once I actually enter the field. Like, do I want to work with children, adults? And the more the time kind of went on, the more tragic it got. So it became a point where, like, I ended up leaving school. I became homeless and I was now all alone. I didn't have any family. And that is exactly when I started actually asking for more questions about my gift, because I was like, what is the point? Why am I here? Why am I fighting for something that I don't even know what it is? There was a point where I started like meditating and stuff. And I was like, okay, this is clearly not working. Like, I'm just becoming more peaceful and I am becoming a lot more present with myself, but nothing is really working. And I remember I had a breakdown because I was just so fed up. What worked for me though in the end is not trying to look for it. I know you're gonna hate me, but this is actually very real. I ended up having a breakdown, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, I'm not even gonna try now. Like, forget it. Like, I'm not gonna wake up tomorrow. I'm just gonna stay in bed. I'm not gonna shower. I'm not gonna do anything because I clearly don't have a purpose and I can't find my gift. So I think it was like 3 days where I literally was stuck in my room. Bear in mind, I did end up finding somewhere to stay after this, but I didn't have anybody to call to. Nobody was checking on me. Nobody was trying to see what I was doing or what I was up to. I didn't know how my rent was going to get paid because I just left my job as well. So I sat there doing nothing for 3 days. And for those 3 days, it started off very, 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 very dark. On the second day, honestly, I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. Forget life. But what ended up happening is by the end of that second night, onto the third night, I kind of had this transition of not caring what I did. As long as I got to just be who I am and love people and take care of the people that I can take care of, I didn't need to do anything. And that is when my answer came. After just not wanting anything, truly, I did nothing for those 3 days. I don't want to go on my phone. I didn't want to do anything. And that way, I found what I wanted to do. And that was to just be there for the people that I loved. With this evolution now of not doing anything, and by the way, I didn't do anything. Like, I think when I tell people about the story, like, they end up doing things alongside when they're trying to discover what they're trying to discover. So you know how people have like fasting retreats? This is basically it. Like, when you don't eat, when you don't do anything, you will find what you want to do. It's that simple. Like I said, this still wasn't something that I considered a gift. I just thought this was my preference. So I really truly found my gift when I dived deep into my soul. So once I did the 3 days of doing nothing, I realized the things that I did want to do. I loved reading books. I liked hanging out outside in nature, even though it was wet. And it was winter back then as well. In the UK, it's horrible, it's gross and wet, and I was fine because it was better than doing nothing inside that room and not really eating anything that I liked as well. I remember it was just soups because I didn't have a job, so I had to make money like last. And the more I did these little things, the little more joy and the more my path started opening up. And I remember just thinking, I really enjoy doing things for people. I had to look at my past to find out what my gift was. Most of us come onto this planet knowing a mission, and then we just have amnesia because we forget like what the mission was when we come onto this planet, because the whole point of the mission is that you have an earlier life, your childhood teach you the things that you need for your mission. So for me, being born in Eritrea, being a refugee in Sudan and facing all these chaotic circumstances where I'm alone in an orphanage, and then later on, my mum has a very bad illness, and she's also very traumatized. So she has these very bad ideas, and she basically enslaves me in her mindset. That being said, I've had to go through so much of pain, and everything that I've gone through now, I can heal from. That makes me a healer. And I know that word healer is very, very big. So that's my next bit as well. When we come to Earth with a mission, you will also have a lot of free will. You will have so much free will. There was a point where I was like, okay, fine, I'm a healer, and I can heal people because of what I've gone through. So whoever's going through the same things that I've gone through, I can help them on. And I was like, but what exactly? Like what? Okay, fine, refugee, immigration, and bad traumatic experiences that have happened to parents, being, whatever. There's so many things. And I mean, I've gone through my fair share of a lot of weird things that have happened in my life that I've had to heal from. But then I was like, okay, but how? How am I going to help heal people? Like, this is before I discovered like self love to like being the solution for everything. And they were like, free will. By they, I'm on about my spirit guides and the spirit guides that we all have. I had a lot of like intuitive connection at this point, so I didn't struggle that much with communicating with my higher self, because that's one thing you're going to unlock once you do the 3 day of like really just focusing on doing nothing and saying enough is enough and letting go, is that you're going to find your intuition. It becomes a lot stronger to listening to your soul. And I'm sure you've seen my other videos, but it's just beautiful how little your soul needs for you to just like, it just needs you to be like, hey, like I'm ready. And it just opens like that. And I was asking my guys, I was like, so what do I do now? Like, I need to know exactly what the gift is. Like, okay, cool, I'm a healer, but what else? Like, what comes with it? And what can I do with it? Like, I'm sure it must be a specific thing. I want you to do my work for me, basically, is what I was telling my guides. And that's the amazing thing, is that just as cool as our guides are, we are just as cool as them. And we have just as much free will as them. Most part of your gift will be a lot of free will. It's a lot of like you taking the initiative to study one thing and another thing and like bring them together. So my thing is, psychology and healing, but like I love the arts. So it's like, do you know what I'm saying? If like there's one thing also, is our soul is a creative being, so we want this freedom. We want this freedom to create the gift ourselves. As long as you have the blueprint, by the blueprint, you can easily do this by just looking at your past, seeing what you've had to go through already, what you've learned, things that you've, trust me, your soul would have made sure that your childhood had a lot of clues. And if you don't remember your childhood, then what did you do in your childhood? What did you have to go through? Was there any like movement? Was there anything particular that you remember? And if not, you need to do the 3 day like doing nothing, because I did have PTSD at the time, so I didn't know what the hell like I even wanted to do in childhood. Or it wasn't actually about what I wanted to do in childhood, it was what I had to go through in childhood and what you had to experience. So that being said, and if you can't do that, if you just can't even think about it, then do the 3 day of doing nothing. Just do nothing, and what you want to do, what your soul will just awaken and help you out. And that is how I found my gift. I did the 3 day of doing nothing, hated my life, and then I was like, well, actually, I do want to do this one thing, and that is read. And I don't know, see my sister and see how this happens, and blah 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 blah. And then I ended up on the path of healing, and then I was like, okay, now what would I heal? But then I discovered that free will is a thing. And that if we truly believe we're source and that we're God and our guides are just as powerful as we are, and that I am also just as powerful as God, then there's nothing to worry about. You discovering that one aspect is enough for you to create this beautiful bouquet of gifts for yourself from that one thread. So that being said, I love you guys very, very much. That is how I found my gift, and it still carries on today. I'm still unfolding it. I'm only 24, so there's going to be a lot more. This is a journey of experience, guys. And if we're lucky, we will be able to use our gift and discover it And then, if we're even more lucky, we help other people discover their gifts.